Hello everyone, I'm CPC, director and lead writer of Tiny Waffle Studios. This is our first time putting together a progress update in the form of a video, so please bear with us as we figure out how everything's going to work out and what's going to work best to convey updates in our future projects. I'm hoping to see these video presentations become a central way for us to communicate information in the future, so I'll be trying out a couple of options for how these showcases are laid out. I'm also reading from a script this time around, something I usually don't do for any of my videos. Typically what I'll do is I'll have a script with me that contains bullet point notes of whatever I want to discuss and let my rambling kind of carry on from there. However, since I'll be talking about a lot of upcoming projects, I just wanted to make sure nothing is left out from what I want to discuss in such a short amount of time. With all that out of the way, this is the very beginning of our first ever video presentation, and because of that, I think it's only fitting to start things off with information on a major upcoming project. As you may know, Tiny Waffle Studios was given permission to develop an unofficial expansion for My Doki Doki Snafu. I talked with the mod's creator, Guy Bread, about what I wanted to do with this expansion, and around the beginning of November 2024, he officially gave us the green light. Since then, a few things have changed. We decided to partner up with a community member named Kojo to develop this expansion, at the time nicknamed My Doki Doki Snafu Plus, and during our initial conversations, Kojo and I decided to also remaster certain aspects of the original mod, such as the stat system and some of the general progression of different character-based routes. We've also given the mod an official title since then, My Doki Doki Snafu 2, inspired by the title from the sequel to the first season of an anime called My Teen Romantic Comedy Snafu. If you've ever wondered where the original mod's title came from, there's your answer. The last time I publicly revealed new information about the mod, I discussed various plans that we've set in place for the final release of Snafu 2, such as updates to various GUI elements, a slightly revamped stat system, and an entire new story arc taking place during the summer. The original mod ends with implications that the Literature Club will make attempts to meet up during the summer, and as a fan of the mod, I always wondered where this idea could be taken. But now, with permission to work on this unofficial expansion, I could finally bring this idea to fruition with the help of Kojo. Our current plan for development is to work on some of the biggest glow-ups we'd like to implement for existing content before locking in on the summer arc. On top of this, we are also wanting to create some new events relating to the track team. We haven't decided on exactly how to go about this yet, but some ideas we've thrown around include utilizing the athleticism stat and writing more interactions between the track team and literature club. One key detail that we've yet to reveal is, well, what exactly does our target launch window look like? Obviously the full release won't be ready for quite some time. In fact, we're still sticking with our promise that it'll be released by the end of 2026. But behind the scenes, we've discussed releasing a demo version of Snafu 2 that would feature all of the remastered content we had planned, plus a look into the summer arc and one or two new, smaller interactions between the Literature Club and track team. We haven't made a final verdict on if we'll go through with this demo release quite yet, but if we do, expect it to drop by the end of 2025. Moving on to our next topic. If you've kept up with the various DDLC mod releases from the last week or so, you may have noticed a certain shadow release called Out of My League. It was a very short mod that was released for April Fool's Day, and it was made to look like a Monica romance mod. I hope everyone who tried it out had a good laugh, and that's just about all I have to share on this title. Or is it? What you saw was an April Fool's edition of an actual mod that I've been slowly piecing the ideas together for since around December of 2024. I'm pretty sure that not even our lead programmer, Chino, was aware of this until now. The actual mod with the same name will be released sometime in the next year or so. Unfortunately, I can't say much more than that at this time. I hope you look forward to future updates on this release. Here's some information on the third installment of the Natsuki Rants series. This time, Natsuki will be joined by 2 other iterations of herself from other mods. The chosen variants will be revealed at a later date. Also, the 3 of them will be diving into other horror games this time around. Because of this, there's going to be much more work going into this installment than either of the first 2 mods. I want this installment to truly show what horror games such as Granny and Baldi's Basics have to offer, while once again letting Natsuki go wild with their rants. With the script already about 10% completed, we're aiming for an August 2025 release, but this is still definitely subject to change. I'll likely do a specific video presentation for Natsuki Rants 3 sometime closer to release. And speaking of project-specific presentations, I'll also be uploading a short video presentation for the 2024 Doki Mod Awards in the near future. In this presentation, I'll be discussing some of my plans and hopes for this year's Mod Awards. The video is currently planned to be uploaded on April 24th of 2025. More details on the presentation will be announced closer to the 24th. Now for a very quick sidetrack from Tiny Waffle Studios projects. I joined Team Relations around the end of 2024, and since then I've been working on story ideas for something brand new to the mod, a side story. Unfortunately, I'm unable to share information about what the side story will look like at this time. However, I'm working endlessly to get you all the Harumi route you deserve. Before I wrap things up, I want to quickly share information about the Undertale mod I've been working on since 2023. If you haven't heard of it, it's called Under Remix and features music remixes of the game's OST. I previously planned on doing 3 major releases a year for this project, but considering I've only done 2 in the past 2 years, who knows exactly how long it'll take before it's fully completed. The 3rd wave of music remixes has been held off due to the fact that I've been going back and redoing many remixes from the first 2 waves. And I've learned a lot about composing and remixing since I started with this project, so in turn, I want to improve upon what I did up to 2 years ago. Hopefully, Wave 3 will be released this summer, but I don't want to guarantee anything until it's much closer to being finished. Finally, I want to talk about Tiny Waffle Studios' biggest priority at this time, DDMC Celebration. If you haven't heard of this mod, Celebration was made to celebrate the vast community of DDLC modders and the hundreds of releases since 2017. Currently, mods such as Snafu, The Rising Knight, and Tainted Love have all been featured in Celebration. The prologue and Act 1 have both been released as of December 2023. A full 15 months have passed since the last major release of Celebration, but I'll be blunt about this, the official Act 2 release is still nowhere near completion. A major reason for this is the fact that I'm working on rewriting the prologue and Act 1 essentially from the ground up. The planned story for this mod has changed significantly since the start of development, and I want the existing content to reflect what is now planned. The other big reason is that Act 2 is much more technical than the first 2 chapters, which isn't saying much. Chino has been hard at work on real-life matters, but during some of his free time he's also been figuring out how we can make some of the mod's new mechanics and features work properly. On top of new mechanics, Act 2 will nearly double the number of represented mods and projects. Just in the first 2 releases, we've had the honor of featuring various elements from Snafu, Foreign Relations, Tainted Love, The Rising Knight, Salvation Remake, and others that are currently only represented via the Poem game and other one-off mentions. If you add all of them up, there's only around 11 or 12 featured mods so far. But once Act 2 releases, the number will sit at close to 20, and once Act 3 is out, the number will likely sit near 40. The Act 2 release is still planned for the end of 2025, but things may change if any unforeseen circumstances arise. That's all I have for now, and as a reminder, the video presentation for the 2024 Doki Mod Awards will be uploaded on April 24th. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.